happened absolutely serendipitously. Is idea enough? As an entrepreneur, as a person working in an organization, is having just a brilliant idea enough? No? Why? I can go around telling the world, no, that I have 300 ideas in my head. Doesn't that give me importance? No? What am I supposed to do? Right? So as long as it's in my head or on the drawing board, it's of no use to anybody. Implementation is the absolute key. Do you know who this gentleman is? Okay, you got the nationality right, that's all. No. Have you ever seen Archimedes with clothes? I'm surprised. Okay, you can't see his clothes anyway. Yeah. This is a guy called Hero of Alexandria. In 1st century AD, he had discovered the steam engine. He had drawings of the steam engine, but it remained only in his sketchbook. It's only in mid-1700 that a gentleman called Newcomen created a pump which could pump water out of the mines, which was close to the steam engine but not quite. And James Watt discovered it 10 years later. So between 1st century AD and mid-1750s, can you imagine the loss of opportunity? Yeah? So it's not enough to say I have a brilliant idea in my head and that is good enough. It is obviously not good enough. You'll have to look at taking it off your head, off your drawing board into the marketplace. Only then you'll know whether it is good or bad. Who's this gentleman? What does he have in his hand? First mobile phone? It looks like a bloody brick, no? The gentleman is Martin Cooper, by the way. The person who used to head the communication division of Motorola. In 1973, he walked down the main street of New York and placed the first call on the mobile to whom? Any idea? No, he was not romantic. At that age, he wasn't romantic. No. To his competitor, AT&T, to the president of AT&T, he placed a call. That was the first ever call made on the mobile phone. 1973. But when did the mobile phone actually come into market? Not until the 90s, mid-90s, if you remember. In India, we got it towards the end of 1990s. I think 98, 99 is when we saw it in India. But did mobile telephony open up a new market? Phenomenally, no? Many of you, I mean, old-timers here will know, if you wanted a BSNL connection, you had to wait 8 years, a landline connection, right? And today, you pay for the SIM card and you come back home. If your SIM card is not activated, maa behan gali doge na? That's the kind of instant gratification that was made possible because of this mobile telephony. And look, not just as a communication device, look at how all we are using mobiles today, right? It's become an independent device in itself. We are using it as a camera, we are using it for communication, we are using it as remote device, we are using it in so many different ways. It opened up whole new markets. I'm sure Martin Cooper never imagined it, you know, when he made his first call. What is this picture? Any idea? Yeah, which one am I talking about? You're absolutely right. Cirque du Soleil, bang on. Cirque du Soleil is a French-Canadian company. The owner, La Liberté, when he said he wanted to start a circus, people laughed at him, saying, well, who will come to circus? And he said, no, I'm not looking at a typical circus which has animals and, you know, trapeze artists and all of that. I'm looking at the convergence of gymnastics, music, dance, entertainment, like a Broadway musical. And I'd like to see why people won't come to it. And what did he do? He brought in new customers. I mean, you would never go to a circus, right? Even if your daughter insisted that you take her, you would never go to a circus. But here was a very, very premium quality circus that was brilliant in terms of production, that had amazing gymnastics, and it had gorgeous, outstanding music and dance. It was a performance par excellence, right? It opened not only new market, it brought in completely new customers. New consumption occasion. I don't know, those of you who travel may have used this. It's a Colgate product called Wisp, which is a one-time, use and throw toothbrush. People who travel find this brilliant, right? Because I don't know how many of you have actually experienced it. You brush your teeth in the morning, you're traveling, you're on a bus, let's say. You brush your teeth in the morning, you wash it, you wash the brush, water is leaking from the brush. And then you put it in your handbag or in your whatever bag, and the bag gets wet, right? It's so bloody inconvenient. And here is a product which is a use and throw. So what did it do? New consumption occasions brought in more users, brought in more customers, newer markets, all of that. How many of you know of Atari? Video game company, yeah. Are they still there?
Well, the founder died just recently.
But are they there? Do they exist?
Not much. Sony and Microsoft.
Yeah, other people took over. Atari was the world's first video games company. And their strategy was absolutely brilliant. They didn't sell to you and me. They put up in arcades, in shopping malls. So people came, used the video game, brilliantly successful. One wrong decision. The founder decided to sell it to Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers were myopic. They didn't understand the market. So they didn't invest in it, in building on the games. By then other guys came. Magnus came, Xbox came, everybody else came, and Atari pretty much got wiped out. This was the point I was making right at the beginning. Ideation is perpetual. You had a brilliant idea, but you didn't continue with it. Because it's not that you had one idea and you stayed with it. Because one idea, people will come. There are no entry barriers today. Anybody can copy any idea. So unless you have innovated, unless you have a bank of ideas to build your business around, businesses die a natural death, right? Zipcar, how many of you have lived in the US here? No? Zipcar is a facility where, how do I say this? It's a car sharing facility. It's not a carpool. It's a car sharing facility. Like for instance, one of the problems I have in Goa is Panjim market, I never get parking, right? So the distance I have to drive, and then I will never get parking. And what do? I'll keep going goal, hoping that some car will, vacate and I will be able to gusao my car. So here is an opportunity where you register online with Zipcar, okay? And Zipcars will be in different locations. You can just use them, leave them in wherever, whichever place, and you can go on. You don't have to hunt for parking, you don't have to do anything. Let's say you're starting from Varna, going to Panjim. You go to Panjim, leave the car there, go online. You have a very nice mobile app. So go on to the app and say, I've left the car here, and that is good enough. Let's say you come out, you're picking up the car at Panjim. There's a very interesting mobile app there, you want to pick up the car at Panjim, but you don't know. There are 2,000 cars parked there, and you don't know where the zip car is parked, right? Where exactly. So on your mobile app, there is a honk. So if you honk twice on the button, real time it will actually honk in the zip car and say, hey, here I am. It's a very cute app. You guys can try it. You can download the app. It's of no use to you, but you can download the app. Zipcar today is hugely successful. In fact, recently I think Hertz bought it. Hugely successful. They have, I think, some 40,000 cars. They are the largest with some 85% market share in North America. They have, I think, 8 lakh customers. Brilliant. The whole strategy has been brilliant. Where did they get the idea from? Simple pain point, you can't find parking. And why should I spend money on an expensive car and then feel inconvenience that I can't find parking? Much easier, I don't, make that kind of a capital expenditure, whatever. What car is this? Mini Cooper. Who makes Mini Cooper? BMW. Why? What makes it different? It's small, yeah. But people who use Mini Cooper will never use any other car. There is an evangelical quality about it. Why? And why do they still sell so much? What? What is their uniqueness? All other car manufacturers focused on product features. They said, oh, it's a sedan. Oh, it has this much horsepower. Oh, it has this. Oh, it has that. Everybody focused only on product features. What did Mini Cooper do? It focused on the customer. It said, you know what? If you buy my car, it will make you look different. You look unique. It's convenient. It's small, so you can park anywhere. It's eco-friendly. It's customized. It enhances your personality. It makes you different. So it focused on the customer. Very different approach. Most entrepreneurs focus on the product. Most entrepreneurs say, this is my product, take it or leave it. If the customer doesn't like it, he will say, I leave it. Here was a product that only focused on, what should I say, seducing the customer. This was total seduction. That's why you have, this kind of an evangelism. I must share a personal story with you. I think about 6-7 years ago, I was on a flight from Boston to Washington. It's a very short haul flight. I mean, even before you have belted, you're actually landing in one or the other place. I always book an aisle seat. So I was sitting in the aisle, I had my laptop open. It was a 3-seater. So the guy in the middle kept looking at my laptop like that. And I am like, dude, what bad manners? Why are you looking at my screen? So once or twice I looked at him like that and I gave him a nice bright smile, hoping he'll get the message. No, he also smiled back at me. And he's still looking over my screen. We took off. And then he said, what is the brand of your laptop bag? Who cares? You ask me brand of my laptop, I'll tell you it's Lenovo. Who cares about my bag? He said, oh, no, when you get down at Washington, you must buy eBag. I said, I've never heard of eBag. So I quickly go check eBag. If you see the site, it's singularly unimpressive. eBag makes laptop bags. There's nothing sexy about it. There's nothing exciting about it. There's nothing about it. Believe you me, it's that ugly black bag. Nothing different about it. I'm looking at it and I'm saying, what is so special? He said, I'll tell you what is special. So he bought an e-bag and went to Hong Kong. The zipper broke. He came back and blogged about it, saying, don't ever buy an e-bag because the bloody zipper is faulty. I spent more money buying the zipper than I paid for the bag itself. So don't ever buy. 2 days later, the vice president of eBag called him. What would he have said? What would he have said? I'll give you a free bag. Okay, take that rubbish that you wrote about us, but I will give you a free e-bag. Was that the end of the story? No. 2 months later, he called him back again. What do you think he told him?
Ask him about the bag. He might have asked him about the bag.
No.
We are hiring him.
We're hiring you? No.
He improved the bag.
Such, like?
Better zip quality.
He changed the zip manufacturer. He called this guy and said, you know what, we listened to you. You said zip quality was bad, right? We listened to you. We've changed our zip manufacturer. If somebody did that to you, will you feel happy or sad? You'll feel delighted saying this bugger actually listened to me, right? That wasn't the end of the story again. So he tells me, I travel 4 days a week. I always book the middle seat so that I can tell the person on my left and the person on my right to buy the e-bag. If you have an evangelical customer like that, you don't need a bloody sales team, no? How do brands make you evangelical like that? I always say this, it's not enough that the entrepreneur is hungry. He has to make the customer hungry. That's why you see queues outside Apple Store, right? When there is a new launch. You have to make your customer hungry. So the more ideas about making your customer hungry, the more successful your company is going to be. Have you heard of a company called Flytext? It's a very interesting company. They were amongst the first. I mean, in India there is a similar company called Telebrahma, which does advertising through SMS. You've not heard of Telebrahma? They're a Bangalore-based company, hugely successful. Flytext was pre-Telebrahma, and this is a company based in the US. What they do is send targeted advertising messages. There is a very interesting app, an Android app called iPoo, P-O-O. So what iPoo does is, when you are sitting on the potty, it shows all other people who are sitting on the potty. So when I saw this app, I'm like, what rubbish, what's the point? The point is very simple. Imagine a Harpic manufacturer. Target captive segment. No, if he streams in an ad when I'm sitting on the potty, then it's phenomenally targeted advertising, right? That's what Flytext does. So Flytext ran a campaign asking for the best dump lines. If you have just dumped your girlfriend or your boyfriend, come up with the best tagline for it. And the person who was the line that got selected, can I have a pen? Marker, it's there. So the one that got selected was something that said, I love you, you are, my favorite letter between W and Y. No? So that guy won the competition. So Flytext, hugely successful in terms of targeting only media companies which want to sell which want to advertise to their end users. Where did the idea come from? Idea obviously came from the wastage that happens in advertising, typically. I mean, because you send mass SMS to the entire database, person, maybe your target market, need not be your target market. Whereas on Flytext, you actually are addressing not a rupee, not a cent's wastage. You're addressing only that segment which you know, which you need to talk to. Sorry, did I have another one? By the way, even Motorola had gotten into it, but typically Motorola is one of those elephants, right? They don't understand. Whatever Motorola does is purely, I mean, it's almost as if they exclude the customer. Their focus is only on the technology, on the product and everything else. They don't even recognize, I think, that there is a customer who's going to use them. So much earlier Motorola had used, because if you remember, they had launched a company called Iridium. Do you remember that? All communication through satellite and all of that. Bombed very badly in the marketplace. This is a company I found in Lusaka. CellPay is, you know, a payment gateway on the mobile. Okay, very interesting model. They already had a large database of customers. But when they launched CellPay, they never addressed people like you and me. They only addressed FMCG distributors. Logic was, let B2B, you know, is much easier to market, is much easier to convince. If we convince the other businessmen to use CellPay, that is, you know, transaction through mobile, they in turn will insist on their customers to use CellPay. That was the whole logic. And actually, in less than, I think, 6 months, they managed to get a subscriber base of 10 million people. Where did they get the idea from? Idea came from their own strapped resources. They didn't have enough money to market it B2C. So they said, we'll do B2B, and the B that we market to will do it to the C, and therefore we will save our resources. So in summary, ideas are all around you. You don't need an idea bank where you need to go, draw, build a business around. Ideas are all around you. All you need is a sensitive antenna and a little, gumption, a little conviction in saying, I think there is an opportunity here and I don't want to let go. Most people will tell you that Indians have very low risk appetite. I don't agree with that. I don't think so. I think it's just one of those myths that are propagated about entrepreneurship. Because in today's context, you need to have a huge risk appetite if you are an employee, because anytime you can be pink slipped. But as an entrepreneur, I think the point is, anything you do in life involves risk, right? Anything. You marry, it is risky. You have a baby, it is risky.